Welcome to Sha'dow Scripts.
Join me as I try to tell this horror story at night without getting too scared to finish it. There's something about the darkness that just makes horror stories more terrifying, don't you think? The shadows, the silence, the feeling of being completely alone. It's the perfect recipe for a good scare. And tonight, I'm going to try to tell you a story that's so chilling. It's often whispered that it shouldn't be shared after sundown. As I sit here, surrounded by the darkness, I can feel my heart racing, just thinking about the tale I'm about to tell. It's a story that's been passed down for generations, a story that's said to bring nightmares to those who dare to listen. So, if you're feeling brave, grab a flashlight, settle in, and let's see if I can make it through this haunting narrative without losing my nerve. The story begins on a cold winter's night, much like any other. The snow was falling gently, casting an eerie silence over the small town of Ravenswood. It was a night just like any other, until the strange occurrences started to happen. At first, it was just little things. Doors creaking open, shadows darting around the corners of rooms, and disembodied whispers in the wind. But as the night wore on, the events grew more frequent, more intense. It was as if something was stirring, something that didn't want to be ignored. The townsfolk were terrified, but they didn't know what was happening or why. They tried to go about their daily routines, but the feeling of being watched was always there, lurking just beneath the surface. One resident, a young woman named Emily, decided to investigate the strange happenings. She was determined to get to the bottom of the mystery, no matter what it took. As Emily delved deeper into the mystery, she began to uncover some disturbing facts. It seemed that Ravenswood had a dark history, one that was shrouded in secrets and lies. The more she learned, the more she realized that the town was hiding something. The whispers in the wind grew louder, the shadows grew darker, and the doors creaked open with an otherworldly force. Emily was getting close to the truth, but she didn't know if she was ready for what she was about to find. The deeper she dug, the more she felt like she was being pulled into a nightmare from which she couldn't wake up. The lines between reality and fantasy began to blur, and Emily found herself questioning her own sanity. The townspeople were disappearing one by one, and Emily was the only one who seemed to notice. She was the only one who cared. But as the night wore on, she realized that she was running out of time. The darkness was closing in around her, suffocating her. The whispers grew louder, and the shadows grew darker, and Emily knew that she was in grave danger. She tried to run, but her feet felt heavy, as if they were rooted to the spot. She tried to scream, but her voice was frozen in her throat. And then she saw it. The thing that had been lurking in the shadows all along. It was tall, imposing, and its eyes glowed with an otherworldly intensity. Emily was paralyzed with fear as the creature began to move closer, its eyes fixed on her. The night air was thick with tension as the creature loomed over Emily. She was trapped, alone, and defenseless. And then, just as all hope seemed lost, the creature vanished. The silence was deafening. Emily was left standing, frozen in fear, her heart pounding in her chest. She didn't know what had just happened, but she knew that her life would never be the same again. The townspeople began to reappear, one by one, as if they had been awakened from a deep sleep. They were confused, disoriented, and terrified. They didn't know what had happened, but they knew that something was wrong. As the night wore on, the town of Ravenswood was left to pick up the pieces. They were left to wonder what had happened, what had caused the strange occurrences. And Emily, well, she was left to wonder if she had really seen what she thought she had seen. The story of Ravenswood is one that will haunt you long after the lights go out. It's a story that will make you question what's real and what's just your imagination. And it's a story that will leave you sleeping with the lights on for weeks to come. So, did I make it through the story without getting too scared? I'm not sure, but I do know one thing. I'll be sleeping with the lights on tonight. Thanks for joining me on this terrifying journey. If you want to share your thoughts on the story, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more horror content. And if you're feeling really brave, check out our next video, where we'll be exploring even more chilling tales. Until next time, good night, and try to sleep tight. This is Sha'dow Scripts, where the shadows tell the story.